Welcome to Eat Well, Travel Better, the Business of Food Travel podcast with Eric Wolf and Ashi Vale, where we help you become a better industry professional by gaining inspiration from some of the world's most successful people in the food and beverage tourism industry. With each episode, we meet these leaders and examine their secrets of success. We reveal the obstacles and challenges they have faced, along with their solutions and triumphs, and give you ideas and inspirations for many of the same business issues that you may be facing as well. And now for today's episode. I'm Eric Wolf, and I'll be your host today for Episode 5 of Eat Well, Travel Better, the Business of Food Travel podcast. And joining me today is co-host Ashi Vale. Today we'll be speaking with Oscar Farinetti, the man behind Eataly. Oscar was born in Alba, Italy, and you could say that retail has always been in his blood. His father, Paolo, founded a small local supermarket in 1967 and named it Unieuro. A few years later, Oscar became actively involved in the business, which grew to become the largest consumer electronics store in Italy. He sold it in 2003. Then, just 1 year later, he founded the high-end Italian supermarket Eataly, which has been a global success since the very first day. The New York Times described Eataly as a megastore that combines elements of a bustling European open market, a Whole Foods-style supermarket, a high-end food court, and a new-age learning center. In 2017, Oscar opened Eataly World, which has been described as the Disneyland for Italian food. Oscar is a passionate and visionary leader with fascinating stories to share. Welcome, Oscar. Can you explain a little bit about the Unieuro? Did it start as a grocery store by your father, or how did that exactly start?
Yes, the Unieuro history started from my father in 1967. I was 13 years old. My father founded Unieuro for one factory. That was the name of one factory of coffee and another factory of pasta. Was a fantastic history. My father called Unieuro because he was a very big supporter of United Europe. And after, in 1972, my father founded the first supermarket of food. And the name was Unieuro Market. And I started to work with my father in 1978. And I started to sell food with my father.
And then what happened after that? What did it turn into another company, Unieuro, or did it stay a supermarket?
In 1978, I started to work with my father, and my father opened in this year one big supermarket, one hypermarket. And to call hypermarket was necessary to have also no food products, same white appliance and electronic machine. And my father told me, you have studied, please, you look at this new report of washing machine, TV, hi-fi, PC, you remember Amiga and Commodore 64, and tell me, please, you work in the new, and I start to work in the food, and for some time in this new report, and I start to love this product because it was new for me, and I understood that will be big future for this product, new television, new computer. And I worked 10 years with food and white appliance electronic machine. And in the final, in 1989, I convinced my father to sold all the activity of food to concentrate it in wine, appliance, and electronic. And Unieuro became a chain of electronic. And from the first store in 1989, in 13 years, on 2002, Unieuro was the big chain of white appliance and electronic machine in Italy, with 106 stores in all the peninsula.
Wow.
But in 2000, I want to become on the work of family, that is the food. And I decided to sell all the electronic activity or to become in food business, but not the work of supermarket, generic. That was the work of my father, but with new concept. And in 2001 or 2002, I invent the Italy brand, and I start to think to the Italy concept, because was new concept, the integration of restaurant, market, and teaching room. And in 2004, I founded Italy with my 3 sons, because I have 3 sons that work with me. Now it's me that work with my sons. This is
Oscar, you had a really successful career in consumer electronics with your company Unieuro, and I know you've had another successful career with Italy. It's a phenomenal brand. What inspired you to change your focus back to food?
I am very lucky. First, I am very, very lucky man. Very lucky man. But my thing was very, very easy. Italy, my country, is the most important country in the world for the food biodiversity, for the different regional cuisine, for fantastic farmer. And don't exist one chain in the world. Is incredible, because French people have Auchan, have Carrefour, Dutch people have Metro and other. Italy in 2000 here have many chefs, pizzaioli that go in the world for to open one restaurant, but don't have a big store. And I understood that the first chain of high-level food in the world would be fantastic idea. I started in Turin on January of 2007, after in Bologna, but in 2009 I opened the first in Tokyo, and was very, very difficult, because the Japanese market is strong, is difficult, is many diversity, is different mentalities, different vision, no? Was very strong, but I opened 4 stores in Tokyo and Osaka. And in 2010, I opened it in New York. And with the opening of New York, changed all my life.
Why did you start it in Japan after Italy?
But because my mentality was that it is important to start where is more difficult. Because if it's possible to work in very, very difficult situation, will be very easy to work in easy situation. But was not good. If it's possible to come back, I opened before in New York.
Oscar, surely you must have had some challenges during the course of your career. Maybe it had to do with the Italy stores. Can you tell us about one of the biggest challenges that you experienced during your career and how you overcame it?
Is many challenge. All my life is the history of challenge. Very difficult. The before was in electronic, to convince the Italian people to use the computers. I remember that was terrible and difficult. after with Italy concept is to convince that it's possible that exists only one side for to buy, to sell, and to study the food. Was very difficult to convince that the food is the only one product that go inside on the body, and is the most important product in the life of the people. And that is very, very important to study the history, the culture, the story of the farmer, the technical, and was very, very, very strong. But I win. I win with this thing. Who create us? Insert two orgasms on the two things that is necessary for to continue the human species. If we don't have orgasm when we make love and when we eat, the human species don't continue. But same in the love. If you know your partner, the orgasm is better. Same in the food. If you know the producer, the farmer, the history, the cultural of the food that you eat, your orgasm would be better. And same in the love. If you love your partner, same in the food. If you love the history, the tradition, the all that stay back on the food, your organ will be sublime, fantastic. And in 2 or 3 years, I think that I have convinced many people that is possible. That.
Speaking of joy and passion, what has been one of the most joyful moments of starting Italy and running it?
I remember the first day when I opened the first Italy in Turin. Was 27th of January of 2007. I opened this new concept, new store on 10 o'clock in the morning. And my problem was, but the people understand this new concept, understand that it's possible to buy, it's possible to eat, it's possible to participate to the study. And I remember that on 12:30 o'clock, nothing customer was seated in the restaurant. And don't understand that was possible also to eat. Was terrible. Many people opened the boxes of ham and eat. And I tell, no, you go in the restaurant of the ham, it's possible. And but on 1 o'clock p.m., all the restaurant was full. And for me, it was fantastic day. In this moment, I understood that Italy concept will be one success.
Oh, beautiful. It certainly has taken off. How many countries are you in now, Oscar?
Now we stay in 15 countries. 9 is incredible because in only 10 years, we have opened 39 Italy stores in the world. We stay in 15 countries. And the last that I opened was in Italy, in Bologna. The name is FICO, Italy World. Incredible is the concept. And the next will be in Stockholm, Italy store in Stockholm on 3 of February of the next year.
Oscar, you had this idea to create Italy World, a much bigger version of the stores, and many people have called it a Disneyland for Italian food. Why did you decide to create this? Why did you feel that it was necessary to have this kind of big celebration of Italian food there?
Yes, Italy World is unique and will be unique in the world. It lives in Bologna, and the concept is to celebrate the beauty of biodiversity of Italian food. Speaking about Italian food started from the beginning and not from the final. Normally, when we speak of the food in the world, we start from the final, from the chef, from the table, from the dish. But the food born in the earth, born in the land, born from the farmer. And first in Italy is the agricultural, with in Italy world in Fico. First is the agricultural with 2 hectares of cultivation, 200 animals in opening farms. After 4 artisanal factories for the transformation of the raw materials. After 47 restaurants, 12 different markets, and in the final, 4 universities that work inside of Fico, with 12 teaching rooms, 1 theater, 1 auditorium for the Congress, and in the final, same Disneyland, same, I have the carousel. We have 6 carousel, but Italian food carousel is different from Disney World, because you remember that in United States, the oldest thing that you have is Fort Alamo, 1836. In Italy, we have very, very millenarious oldest thing that is possible to celebrate. And our 6 carousels in Fico is teaching carousel for understand the history of fire, the history of agricultural, that in Italy born 10,000 years ago. The history of the fisher, of the farms, the history of wine, the history of the oil, and the last carousel to describe our idea of agricultural future. In total is 10 hectares. And we want to attract 6 million of visitors per year. I want that Fico, Italy World, will be for the foreign tourists, same Venice, same Colosseum, same Florence. I go to Italy, but I want to go in Fico, Italy World in Bologna, for understand all the steps of the fantastic history of Italian food.
So it's a celebration of the food culture, but also the history of the food. And of course, it would have to be in Italy to do that.
Yes, now I want to explain you why Italian food is unique. My country, Italy, is the most biodiversity country for eating vegetables. Is number 1 because it's only one peninsula that go from north to south in perfect latitude for agricultural, close in the good sea, because the sea of Mediterranean is closed, and the good winds, the good winds from the sea meet the good winds from the mountain and from the hills that we have in all the peninsula, and create many different microclimates in every region. And for example, in all the Europe exist 1,200 different apple species, variety. 1,000 in Italy and 200 in all the rest of Europe. In Italy, we have 538 different cultivars of olive. We are number 1 in the world. The second is Spain with 70. This is the gap. In Italy, we have 1,230 different species of grapes for the wine. The second in the world is French, that have 222. It's incredible, the Italian biodiversity. And this biodiversity was transferred in the kitchen, in the cooking, in the gastronomy. And every village have different dish, different concept for to create the dish. And Fico, Italy before, and now Italy world and Fico in particular, with the agriculture and the factory, born for to explain this beauty to the people of the world. You understand?
Oscar, we've heard a lot about the slow food movement and the momentum it's gained in Italy and the world. What is your association with it? And can you tell us more about what you think about the slow food movement now?
I think very, very well and very, very good of slow food. Carlin Petrini is one of my best friends. And my idea of Italy born in 1996, when I go in the first Salone del Gusto. Salone del Gusto is a taste festival that invents slow food movement in Turin. The first was in 1996, and I remember the products, very rare, the perfumes, the taste, the history, the farmers. And I tell me, why only 3 days for this beauty? I want to create, and I go to Carlin to explain my concept. Now I am the president of the Friends of University of Pollenzo, that is big association to support the University of Gastronomic Science of Pollenzo that Carlin Petrini invented, is the University of Slow Food. I stay in the board of this university, and I work with slow food for many reasons, in many work. And when I invent Italy, I go to Carlin to explain my concept, and Carlin tell me go. And now slow food movement is my very important support for to have first young people from the university that work in Italy. Second, to show me little producer in the world, no? In particular in Italy. But after in the world, for example, when I opened in New York, was not possible to export from Italy meat. Was not possible to export from Italy the flour. And slow food movement showed me a fantastic producer, okay, and farmer. This is the slow food is not in the capital of not in the capital of Italy. Is only external consulate, but very, very important for us.
So, Oscar, let's bring this back around and talk a little bit about tourism. One could say that all of your Italy stores are in fact tourist attractions. In fact, when I was in Chicago last year, I went to your store there, and it clearly was the kind of thing a foodie would want to do, just to walk around, and you could spend almost the full day in your store. And now with Italy World, it's the same kind of thing where people will be coming to learn about the history of Italian food and food culture and agriculture. But what about this idea of over-tourism? We hear that many parts of Europe have too many visitors. Are you concerned that there will be too many people coming to experience and to learn about the Italian food? And what would you do if that happened?
Okay, I think that Italy country, my nation, is the first destination in all the minds and in all the hearts of the world's people. But we are only sixth for the results. Why? For me, the problem are three. The first is the Italian's mentality that is not too strong to describe the beauty of Italian gastronomy. the Italian landscape and arts with one strong storytelling. Storytelling is big problem for Italian people. The second problem is that infrastructure and internal transport that are not sufficient. Third, the foreign tourism is too much concentrated in 3 or 4 Italian cities. This is our big problem. And FICO born will be not only 1, but 4 to resolve some of these problems. I think that will be strategic to work about these 3 limits: more storytelling, external and internal. If we are teacher of storytelling, if you go in our store in USA, if you go in New York, 1 or 2, in Boston, in Chicago, and now it's possible for you to go in Los Angeles, you look our storytelling about the history of food, Italian food. More infrastructure, and I think that FICO will be one of these new infrastructure to attract new foreign tourists. New regional transport that will be more easy, and to convince the foreign tourists that the Italian province is wonderful. We have 53 World Heritage of UNESCO, number 1 in the world, you know. Number 2 is China, but China is 6% of the earth. We are only 0.20% of the world. The people China is 22% of the world. The Italian people is only 0.83% of the world. And we are number 1 in the world from the landscape, 53 World Heritage of UNESCO. And you know why we have the best landscape in the world? Because the designer of the landscape is the farmer. And the Italian farmer is the most biodiversity in the world, same the earth. And it's important to convince the new foreign tourists, and please, I ask you to tell many things about that the Italian province is wonderful, because is in Italian province, Anghe, from Salento, from the province of Napoli, the province of Rome, the province of Venice, the Veneto, is incredible, is wonderful, and is in the province that born the food, and will be possible to go directly in the artisanal factory where born the food. And FICO born to convince the foreign tourists. Now you stay here. Thank you very much. You look the beauty of Italy. After you go, please, in one of the 53 Heritage of UNESCO. That is the fantastic beauty, but is also the place when born the food. And don't go only in Venice, in Florence, in Rome. That now is full.
Very much so. Well, you were talking about the design of the landscape and the work of the Italian farmers. It's no secret that Italians are very good in design. So you look at the design of clothing or the design of cars, the design of the wine bottles, and it just makes sense that, of course, the landscapes would be beautifully designed as well.
All born from the earth. In the earth that is the most biodiversity in the world, start all the concept of biodiversity mentality of the people that transfer in the new design, in the fashion, in the furniture, in the car, in the arts. Italy is the country of Rinascimento. Only Renaissance, only 16 generations ago, born in Italy, one fantastic movement, the Renaissance, that changed the history of arts in the world. And all the best artists in the world was from Italy. from Leonardo da Vinci to Michelangelo to Raffaello. And now it's incredible that my country, that was the number one in the world for many, many, many years. You remember 2000 years ago, the Rome Imperial, that was number one in the world after Renaissance. Now we are 7 or 8 in the world. It's good because it's 195 different nations in the world, but it's possible for Italy to be the first in Europe because we have a number one. We are number one for heritage of UNESCO. We are number one of arts patrimony in the world. We are number one for food biodiversity. And it's possible for me in the next 10 years, double foreign tourists in Italy. We have only 50 million of foreign tourists in Italy. It's possible to have 100 million. For example, Sicily, that is the most beautiful region in the world, have only 5.5 million of foreign tourists. Rimini have 20 million. It's incredible, no? But the Sea of Sicily is better. And it's possible in Sicily to walk in November in a Greek theater, very old. It's fantastic, the gastronomy of Sicily. I think that it's possible double and double touring forest, foreign tourists in Italy, particularly in the south of Italy. You know that the foreign tourist is 80% in the north and only 20% in the south of Italy. It's crazy.
Why do you think that is?
Because don't exist infrastructure. The problem that I told before, infrastructure, the regional transport, and the mentality. We have 3 reasons. And I think that in the next 10 years, we come back in these 3 limits. And the future of the foreign tourism in Italy will be miraculous in the next year. In the next summer, we have 18% more of foreign tourists. In the first 10 months, in Italy have more 13% of food export. Now it's good. I think that the future will be fantastic.
We were talking about over-tourism and the problem of having too many visitors coming to an area, and you were suggesting that the solution is to get people out into the countryside to see the landscape and to visit places like Italy World, which are in the rural locations. But let's take your experience in Italy and apply it to other countries. What do you see as being one of the big problems in the food tourism industry? If we talked about overpopulation, we can also look at things like health concerns and the additives in food and GMO and things like that. But when it comes to food tourism in our industry, what do you think would be one of the concerns in the near future that we need to pay attention to?
It's very important that the food in the future of the world will be natural, biologic, biodynamic, sustainable agriculture. This is for the future of the world, to save the earth. Because the more of pollution in the world is become from agriculture. First, it's important to convince the tourists when go in one country to eat the speciality of this country. It's stupid that Italian people go in China and eat in the Italian restaurant. It's total stupid. the Italian restaurant is for the other foreign tourists, but not for Italian. It's important to eat the speciality of China. And when the foreign people come in Italy, it's important that in Venice, it is not possible to eat the spaghetti alla bolognese and the pizza. It's stupid. It's important because the regional kitchen in Italy is very different from region and region. No, but it's important that the education of the tourist, please ask biologic product, look the label, and blah, blah, blah. And when you enter in all my store, you look one big sign. When is right, agricultural, to eat is agricultural act. Weldon Berry, United States philosophy of the food movement, that is for farmer, tell, to eat is agricultural act. And I speak with my friend political in Italy, political people, for to tell, please, I want one immense, enormous storytelling about this concept. When come Italian tourists, please eat the regional specialty, that is blah, 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 blah. Second, you look the label. You eat and drink biological, organic product. You read the name of the farmer. You go to visit the farmer and blah, blah, blah. And I think that this will be the future of the concept of tourism, foreign tourism in Italy. I think that in the next 2 or 3 years, we are ready for this storytelling. But is most important for the future of the planet. The planet is in dangerous situation, and many things depend from the agricultural. There is pollution. But in Italy, you know that in Italy, my country, we are number 1 in the Europe for number of organic farmer company. In Italy, we have the minimum of chemical residuum in the earth in Europe. We are very clean, but I want that we will be more clean. And for have this objective is important the education to the public.
Oscar, looking back into your personal and professional life over the years, is there any advice you might have wanted to give your younger self?
If it's would possible to become young, I want to begin immediately and before to study the history, the culture, the arts, the agricultural of the Italian gastronomy, my country, because it's one heritage unique in the world. I start to study these things on 40 years old. If it's possible to become young, I want to start at 12 years old for to know more.
Now, Oscar, you clearly have a lot of experience, many years of business experience, and you've come in contact with many different kinds of people. You must have a pet peeve that you see in business that drives you crazy. What would that be?
For me, is the people that says every time me, I am the first. I am the first that think. I am the win. I am number 1. In this moment, in the world, but in particular in Italy, is many people that don't have doubts, is sure of all, and tell and start to tell with I, me. I don't love these people.
Well, I suppose we could extend that to politicians as well. but we don't need to go there right now.
But it's possible to extend of all the category of people. All the category.
Do you have a book that you're really inspired by or that you're reading right now that you would recommend?
Oh, yes. The name in Italy is Furore. In American, in English, is Grapes of Wrath. You know? John Steinbeck. Is fantastic history that speak about the history in 1920 of the farmer that from the south of the United States go in the east. It's terrible history, but it's very, very near the now history of the immigration of the people. I like this book.
It's a very poignant story.
Oscar, do you have a quote that inspires you from other people, or perhaps a quote that you're known for yourself?
Yes, I want to tell one before one of Leonardo da Vinci. You know who was Leonardo da Vinci? And Leonardo da Vinci tell, the water that you touch in the river is the last one that goes away and the first one that comes. This is the present time for me. You understand? It's incredible concept. When you have the head in the river, the water don't exist the present, exist only the past and the future. And for me, I tell every day, every month, every year to my son and my collaborator, I tell the more remains to be done. For this reason, the future will be wonderful.
And what's in the future for Italy next?
It's very easy to open one Italy in 195 countries in the world. And I think that in the next 20, 30 years, it will be. Because all the countries of the world want Italian kitchen, Italian cooking, but the real, not the imitation. You remember that you know New York City? Before Italy, before my concept, the Italian kitchen was Little Italy. And if you remember, if you go in Little Italy to spaghetti alla bolognese, terrible, terrible. The pizza with salame was terrible. And we go in the New York with the real Italian tradition and culinary. And the American people was happy of that. Very, very happy. And I think that the future to open in all the 195 countries in the world. But I will be very, very happy when will be possible for me to open one Italy when born all. In the middle of the two rivers, Tigris and Euphrates, in Mesopotamia, in a middle moon fertile, in the Iraq, Iran, and Syria, when born all 15,000 years ago. Because in this land, born the agriculture in 15,000 years ago. I think that will be wonderful to open one Italy in this side.
You're a man of many visions.
Yes, I like to be visionary. I like very much because the life is vineyard. For me, is important because I think that the word utopia in Italian is utopia, in English is utopia. Many people think that the word utopia is coming from the Greek, the old Greek, utopio, that is nothing side. But I think that is coming from Old Greek, eutopo, that is wonderful side. You understand?
Oscar, how do you build and continue to develop that vision with your children and family now as you grow the company?
I think that the future will be better with my son. I have 3 sons. That is better of me, everything. 3 sons, fantastic. The first, Francesco, 37 years old, is the Europe boss of Italy. The second, Nicola, 33 years old, live in New York, and is the boss of the foreign business of Italy. And the third, Andrea, 27 years old, is the farmer of the group because he studied enology, he's winemaker. We have an 18 agricultural company where we produce wine, we produce water, we produce meat, we produce cheese, we produce ham and blah, blah, blah. Because 10% of the sales of Italy we produce. 90% we buy from 12,000 different little company, but 10% we produce, and the last, my son, Andrea, is the boss of this category of factory. And I don't tell of my son, please make, please go, please think. I have to disposition if he want to ask me something, but I don't tell what he do. I tell about my visionary concept, but he is more visionary of me, and I am very happy of that.
There's been some talk in the press about a possible IPO for Italy. We know that sometimes when an IPO happens, that companies change and not always for the better. How would you be able to keep the integrity of your vision strong through the process of an IPO?
First, I want that don't change nothing after IPO. When we go in IPO, I think that will be the next year or the next in 2018 or 2019. Don't change nothing, because we go in IPO only for 30% of the capital, and 70% will be in our head, and we continue the same. But I think that it's good that Italy go in IPO, because Italy is the only one global company on the food in Italy, only one. And I think that is right, that we have many Italian family partner of us. But we, the Farinetti family, stay for the majority of the 70% and continue to work inside of Italy. I want that the purchasing, the administration, the logistic will be better, but it's important that the vision, the poetry remain the same.
I hope it will be. It's an amazing concept, and it would be nice to see other countries doing similar things with their cultures. But I think that you're the visionary and you're the leader, and you've set a precedent, and now it's up to other countries and cultures to embrace that with their cuisines. Thank you, Oscar. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
That's all for this episode of Eat Well, Travel Better, the business of food travel, produced by the World Food Travel Association. Join us next time where we learn from some of the world's most successful people in the food and beverage tourism industry. We'll meet these leaders and examine their secrets of success. We reveal the obstacles and challenges they have faced, along with their solutions and triumphs, and give you ideas and inspirations for many of the same business issues that you may be facing as well. Thank you for joining us today, and until next time, eat well and travel better.